Senator Warren, would you put limits on any limits on abortion?
I would make certain that every woman has access to the full range of reproductive health care services, and that includes birth control, it includes abortion, it includes everything for a woman. And I want to add on that, it's not enough for us to expect the courts to protect us. 47 years ago, Roe versus Wade was decided, and we've all looked to the courts all that time as state after state has undermined Roe, has put in exceptions, has come right up to the edge of taking away protection.
Your time is up, Senator.
We now have an America where most people support Roe versus Wade. We need to make that federal law.
Thank you. Jose?
The Republican plan to defund Planned Parenthood is a Republican plan to defund women's health care. For my daughter, for my granddaughters, for people all across Massachusetts and all across this country, I stand with Planned Parenthood, and I hope my colleagues will do the same.
Senator Warren, we're going to get to the gun question here. Parkland, Florida, it's just north of here in Broward County. As you know, it has created a lot of teenage activism on the gun issue. It has inspired a lot of you to come out with more robust plans to deal with guns, including assault weapons ban. But even if you're able to implement that, what do you do about the hundreds of millions of guns already out there? And does the federal government have to play a role in dealing with it?
So, in this period of time that I've been running for president, I've had more than 100 town halls. I've taken more than 2,000 unfiltered questions. And the single hardest question I've gotten, I got one from a little boy and I got one from a little girl. And that is to say, when you're president, how are you going to keep us safe? That's our responsibility as adults. 7 children will die today from gun violence, children and teenagers. And they won't just die in mass shootings. They'll die on sidewalks, they'll die in playgrounds, they'll die in people's backyards. Gun violence is a national health emergency in this country, and we need to treat it like that. So what can we do? We can do the things that are sensible. We can do the universal background checks. We can ban the weapons of war. But we can also double down on the research and find out what really works, where it is that we can make the differences at the margins that will keep our children safe. We need to treat this like the virus that's killing our children.
You didn't address, do you think the federal government needs to go and figure out a way to get the guns that are already out there?
What I think we need to do is we need to treat it like a serious research problem, which we have not done. You know, guns in the hands of a collector who's had them for decades, who's never fired them, who takes safety seriously, that's very different from guns that are sold and turned over quickly. We can't treat this as an across-the-board problem. We have to treat it like a public health emergency. That means bring data to bear, and it means make real change in this country, whether it's politically popular or not. Here in the greatest democracy on earth, our government treats voting like one of the least important things we do. Voting should be easy, but what do you see instead? Long lines, confusing ballots, and lots of ways to try to intimidate people so they don't actually vote. Voting should be secure, and yet systems are not up to date, and the Russians, man, they get their chance to hack. It's time to make voting easy and convenient. Time to secure our elections and time to stop racist voter suppression. Here's my plan. First, we need uniform federal rules to make voting easy for everyone. That means automatic and same-day registration, early voting, and vote by mail. And we're going to eliminate gerrymandering by requiring independent districting commissions. Second, we're going to have elections as secure as Fort Knox. The federal government is going to pay for state-of-the-art machines and run cybersecurity for the elections, so local officials don't have to go head-to-head with the Russians ever again. The total cost of my plan is $20 billion over 10 years and is fully paid for with the wealth tax. If you want your government to protect and defend our democracy, read my plan and join our fight. Today, it's virtually impossible for a young person to find a high-quality education at an affordable price. We're crushing an entire generation with student loan debt, and the consequences are everywhere. Young people can't buy homes, they can't start businesses. No country builds a future by crushing the dreams and hopes of its young people. That's why I'm calling for universal free college and the cancellation of student loan debt of up to $50,000 for 42 million Americans. My plan will wipe out student loan debt entirely for about 75% of those with debt. It will help close the racial wealth gap, and it will provide an enormous economic boost to America's middle class. The cost of my universal college and debt cancellation plan can be covered entirely by my ultra-millionaires wealth tax. That's a 2% tax on the richest 75,000 fortunes in this country, those with more than $50 million in assets. Just 2%, and we can do this. This is the kind of big structural change that expands opportunity to everyone. So if you think college should be accessible to all, then join us.
Senator Warren, you signed on to Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan. It would put essentially everybody on Medicare and then eliminate private plans that offer similar coverage. Is that the plan or path that you would pursue as president?
So yes, I'm with Bernie on Medicare for All, and let me tell you why. I spent a big chunk of my life studying why families go broke. And one of the #1 reasons is the cost of health care, medical bills. And that's not just for people who don't have insurance. It's for people who have insurance. Look at the business model of an insurance company. It's to bring in as many dollars as they can in premiums and to pay out as few dollars as possible for your health care. That leaves families with rising premiums, rising co-pays, and fighting with insurance companies to try to get the health care that their doctors say that they and their children need. Medicare for All solves that problem. And I understand there are a lot of politicians who say, oh, it's just not possible, we just can't do it, have a lot of political reasons for this. What they're really telling you is they just won't fight for it. Well, health care is a basic human right, and I will fight for basic human rights. On immigration. Okay, let's start on immigration. And like all questions, we should start with a statement of our values. Immigration does not make America weaker. Immigration makes America stronger. So here's how I think of this. We need big change in this area. You know where it needs to start? We need to expand legal immigration in this country. This administration has cut down on the number of people who can be here legally. That's keeping families separated for months, for years. That does not make us stronger. That does not promote our economy, and it is not consistent with our values. We need to expand legal immigration. That's part one. Part two, we need to provide a path to citizenship for the people who are here to stay. Dreamers, yes, but also grandmas and grandpas. People who come here to do farming work, students who overstayed visas. These are our friends, our neighbors, our families. We need to bring them out of the shadows. We need a path to citizenship that is fair and achievable. That will be good for all of America. That's part two. Part three is we got to end this ugliness at the border. We need to live our values every day, and that means no more breaking families up.